with a sword on the cover and like leather straps. No, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Somewhere between science and superstition.
We have such sights to show you.
Strange Eons. Welcome to Strange Eons Radio. That is Eric over there.
Hello.
That is Vanessa over there.
Hello.
I am Kelly. Man, it's going to be a sassy episode. I can already tell.
No fucking kidding.
You guys, I was reading this article. We talked a little bit about Seattle trying to figure out their film industry here.
Yeah.
And we've been involved in this since the beginning of us doing this. And
one of the problems is, I'm not sure where you're going, but just as an overall introduction to the problems of Seattle filmmaking.
Oh, God.
There's this group of people that work together. There's this group of people that work together. There's this. And sometimes they'll cross over and they'll intersect, but not very often.
Dude, this was exactly what I was going to say. I know, Kelly, you're probably going to divert here, but when I moved here from the UK in 2008, I was like, oh, I'm just hopping from group to group, just seeing what everybody's up to. Like, okay, cool. There's a cool cinematographer here. There's a good director over there. There's a great sound guy here. And I would jump into a group and be like, oh yeah, why don't you guys hire so-and-so? They're great at this. And they'd be like, who? And I'm like, they've been working here for like 15, 20 years. They were back on the Bill Nye show, guys. Why aren't you working with them? They're like, I don't know. We've got our group. I'm like, are you stupid? Are you just stupid? Just hire this cool person. You should talk to them. Why have you never talked to this other human being before? And it was an endless experience that I was, because I don't time myself necessarily to just one, like I'm an editor for hire, or, I'm doing whatever I'm doing, trying to find the cool people I need to work with. And it's weird. It's a weird town for that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the angle I was going to talk about is the fact that Seattle's tax benefits for making a movie here are non-existent.
It's pointless.
Why everybody was going up to Vancouver in the late 90s.
Technically, they're there, but I think it's
For
half a million
a movie and a
minimum
half, maybe.
for a feature, and
Yeah.
like 30 to 50,000 for a commercial.
It's stupid.
Yeah, it's not helpful.
I was reading this article that was talking about how California is not even getting films made there anymore. So it says here, from the 80s to now, film production has almost entirely left the state of California. By 2016, only 12 of the 100 highest grossing films were filmed in California.
Wow.
California was fourth in film production. The leader in 2016, you guys know. Georgia. Listen to this. Before Georgia's 2008 Entertainment Industry Investment Act, their entertainment industry was making about $200 million annually. This is before 2008. Today, it makes $9.5 billion a year on their film industry.
Yep.
Yeah.
This could have been us.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, easy. It still could if we got our asses in gear, but for some reason we don't like money.
Right.
So that's fine. I don't know if you guys remember, there was a point where I got really close to, potentially going out to Georgia. I went out a few times to check out their scene. I knew a lot of people who were on Netflix pieces out there, visited sets. I mean, every single town, every single street, people were like, it was just broken down, abandoned places, things that were just underserved, underutilized, whatever. And they'd be like, you want to film here? Cool. You want to give us a little bit of money? Great. We'd love that. And all of a sudden, your entire neighborhood becomes the set for Stranger Things. It becomes the set for whatever else people are getting up to. Marvel is building there. You've got Disney putting up huge studios there. Everybody's showing up, and that entire city became purple because they had such a huge influx of industry. Restaurants appeared out of nowhere. Housing appeared out of nowhere. And it just gave such a huge boost to the economy. And it changed the flavor of the place a lot. But at the same time, it felt like what they were changing was a bunch of streets that were covered in kudzu. Like they were fully abandoned places. So Yeah.
Yeah, it brings a lot of money in real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know
just thought
why.
that was super interesting.
I wish I knew what our hesitation is. I wish I knew what we're fighting against.
Long ago, I'm not going to name names because I can't remember. But when Kelly and I were first looking at making movies, and we had Sleepless in Seattle, we had Assassins, we had a little flux of huge things.
Yeah.
The Washington State version of the Washington State Film Board, which is completely different now, not even associated, instead of marketing to film from top to bottom, they went straight to top. And the problem is, if you're going for Sleepless in Seattle, Tom Hanks, Sylvester Stallone films, you're needing big money films, and those are rare.
Yeah.
You're lucky if your city gets one a year if you're a big film city. But $2 million films, $20 million films, we could have had a huge market. I don't know if it'd been strong enough to attack what happened in Vancouver,
Right.
but it would have at least been a starting point to where we had the base. There's a thing called, I think it's called crew depth or something to that effect, which means if a production comes into a city, they know I've got 6 levels of really good film. I can hire these crew people and they'll be top notch. Seattle has one.
Yeah.
One level.
Yep.
And it's like, it could do more. We could do so much better, but we just gotta figure out how to. Then they're trying. There's a few places that are trying to change our tax thing.
Yeah.
The other problem with the tax thing is it's not an incentive; it's a refund. You have to spend the money first, and then you'll get it back.
Right.
Which is really hard.
Yeah, you have to fill out a lot of forms.
If you're an indie film, to raise $500,000 here is almost impossible.
Yeah.
I just get really, I mean, I have a lot of frustrations with our local scene, but I think one of the hardest things is that we kind of hate ourselves here. Everybody who has managed to raise even a little bit of money and is getting their way and starting to scrap themselves together, and I've been on a few of these productions, gets no support, gets a lot of people just being really catty towards them, talking them down, not being available to give
jealousy
them.
Instead
it's
of
just
supportive,
jealousy. Pure straight up jealousy. And I remember one of the films I was on, they were like, yeah, we're trying to get the help from the Seattle film commission or whatever, we're trying to get this, we're trying that, no one's talking to us, blah blah. I was like, let me tell you right now, when you guys start getting to festivals, when the film is done, when it starts playing and is streaming, these people are going to show up.
Yeah.
They're going to show up in force, and they're going to be like, we were so proud of you. We were so glad. we are so excited. They're going to be standing next to you at SCI-FI, and they're going to be patting you on the back. And every time it happens, because they want to be.
That's not unique to Seattle. That's the film industry.
I don't know. It's way worse here. It's way worse here.
It's sort of like traffic. Whatever place you live in, it's the worst. You may actually be the worst, but every city that has any level of something feels that. Because when you're looking at anything that's got big money, there's going to be people that are going to show up when the money's already been spent to try to make themselves look better.
Yeah.
I've got, like I mentioned the last episode, the Crypticon Seattle Film Festival's Northwest Block, which has started that, along with Bleeding Hams doing some great stuff, and Bone Bat is starting to bring that together a little bit more, and a lot of cross work, like the Death of Snow White movie has people that I don't know. I'm not saying they met at Crypticon and Seattle. It's like, hey, look at me. But I was like, oh, this guy who did all these films was his DP.
Yeah.
And this guy and this woman who did all these effects works with him too. And all this, there's a great cross-pollination going on with that film.
Yeah.
So hopefully
I feel like the horror
up.
Scene is like somehow different. It has a different attitude than like the drama scene, or people who get like Viggo Mortensen out for one scene, not to name anything in particular, but it just there are certain films where you just feel this weird underlying vitriol. And like, I watch these people struggle and just do everything they can. I mean, every large film I've been on here, I've made no money.
Yeah.
I mean, I've made minimum wage, but like close to criminal low amounts of cash.
And high budget in this area. That's
high budget,
what you're getting.
I'm talking about $1 to $3 million films that I've been a part of that have been the more successful things that I've managed to actually get on. And those are things where like I was in a basement, I was in a abandoned police station, I was in somebody's house who moved, just like in the corner of their kitchen working for months at a time. And those have ended up being the best projects and the ones that have done the most out of what they had.
Yeah.
But yeah, like just really heartbreaking to watch people in the community not band together and not show up. And also, money, not showing up for the money either. Like that's pretty rough. So I don't know. I've kind of lost faith in the scene, but I feel like maybe if anything, genre and horror and people who are outside of the actual like industry structure of it might actually do well.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, we lost faith too.
Yeah.
We had some strange meetings with some strange pitch things that went ways to going, well, we don't really belong this area for what we're making.
Let me tell you. I've been to so many meetings where I'm like, I should not be here. You sure don't want me here. Like, I know you're just patting yourself on the back being like, I took a meeting with this young lady who had a lot of energy and I got to tell her to fuck off. Like, glad I drove all the way here, sir, and bought my own meal. So, Seattle.
Good time.
Let's get into some movies we've watched this week because I watched two really good ones.
Oh, well, that's good.
The first one is available on Netflix, and nobody's talking about this, and I can't remember how it got on my radar, but it is called The Dead Talents Society, and it is a Taiwanese film, and it is a horror comedy. Vanessa, I think you would love this movie. Eric, I know you would love this movie. It is about it's set in the afterlife, and all of these ghosts, mostly female, are competing as kind of ghost influencers to become like the biggest urban legend.
Oh my God.
And so they will be haunting their place, and you don't see that there's just a team of people helping them achieve this haunt effect that they're doing. And then they show these things every year at the awards, and they all vote on who's the best urban legend to come out of this thing. So it's very meta in that, there's the throwbacks to the black-haired ghosts, crawling out of a television or twisting backwards and crab walking and all of this shit. And it is so fun because it's about a young ghost who has been killed, and there's a ticking time bomb here, in that one of her effects from her family, one of her awards that was given to her as a living person, they accidentally misplaced it, and that sets her on she's got about 30 days and she will disappear because nobody will remember her anymore. So she decides she has to become a ghost, or a haunting ghost, which is how you are able to continue living in the afterworld.
Oh, wow.
And she's got a team of people who are not the smartest, trying to help her achieve this.
That's so good.
It is really, really clever. It's really funny. It's really kind of heartwarming. A lot of the same energy as what was the movie that everybody loved that I didn't love? One Cut of the Dead. A lot of that same energy. Just a real feel good.
Oh, cool.
And I ended up, I wasn't crying or anything, but I was emotionally touched by this film. I thought it was really, really neat and unusual, very original.
Wow.
So it is called The Dead Talents Society, and it is on Netflix.
Incredible. Okay, well, I'll definitely have to hunt that down. Well, I've been going back and watching a lot of Star Trek Next Generation. I think I'm now on season 6, so I'm getting there. There is a special kind of joy watching something you've seen 1,000 times before with somebody who has not, and you see the next episode in the line and you're like, uh-oh.
Are you counting your child as the person who has not seen this?
No, my husband. My poor husband.
You can do it again then. Another option coming up in a few
Once
years.
she's old enough, it's happening. It's definitely happening. But it's so funny because I'm like, oh, it's going to be that cute episode. Oh, or, oh my God, it's got the flute. Oh, the flute episode's coming up. And every Star Trek nerd out there right now knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, so it's been really fun. It's getting towards silly land. So near the last couple seasons of Next Gen, it gets fucking weird. I don't know why it gets weird. I don't know why they take the brakes off and they're like,
old long running shows, man. They always
oh my God,
hit that wall.
They're like, let's turn, I think, Troy into a birthday cake and have them like cut her up. Like, I know that's coming up sometime soon. It's on the horizon. I can see it.
So you say you're on episode or season 6?
Yeah.
And it's already starting to wind up? I thought this thing went for 15 seasons.
No, it only went for 7 seasons.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, it's getting towards the end of it. I know that once we get into Dr. Crusher is doing her grandma's ghost lover, that we're nearing the end. So
Yeah, maybe veer off and like, we're gonna stop watching now because I want you to love this show.
We got to watch this whole thing. You either love it all or you don't.
Fantastic.
You know?
Did it get bad at the end or just weird?
It gets really weird. I wouldn't say bad. I think there's a couple bad episodes in there, but it's just because fucking Worf's son is the worst.
Oh,
and every time you see he's going to be in an episode, you just want to hang yourself.
Okay.
That actor, he never gets better. Same thing for fucking DS9. Every time he's in, doesn't matter that he's a teenager now, he's still a piece of shit.
Oh my!
There are okay child actors. Wesley Crusher is not bad compared to some of these kids, but anyway, so it's been a lot of fun. I've been enjoying it.
Okay.
So I moved into one that, shockingly, I had never seen from the 80s barbarian movement. Barbarians.
Oh boy.
Whoa.
The movie with the 2 weightlifting barbarian twin brothers.
Yeah. They actually went by the Barbarian Twins,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's as good as you'd imagine.
Oh.
Oh dear.
Even with my appreciation of being able to watch Andy Milligan.
Yeah.
And, some of the other stuff, Al Adamson. It's a rough film. It's sometimes hilarious and fun to watch, but wow, it is. It's so weird. They make this strange little noise every once in a while that is like the emotional cue. Sorry, spoiling the movie. For the end, where the group that is looking for them hears him make that weird ass noise. They go, "Oh, that's him." It's like, yeah, that's not a good call there.
Oh my god.
But it is occasionally a lot of fun to watch. It was not as terrible as I thought it would be, but it's not good.
Well, what are you watching that on?
It's on I think it's Prime, and
Okay.
it's completely remastered. Somebody got a hold of it somewhere because it looked fantastic.
Wow. What did Marty think of it?
Oh, he didn't. He wasn't watching that one. He is very, very limited in what he watches on TV.
I'm always curious who's in the room with you when you're watching some of this stuff. Like,
No, just most of them is probably me.
oh,
Barbarians. Boy, I remember that one. I remember the cover
Yes.
or the poster.
guys.
Yeah. Oof.
I don't think I would watch that.
I could call.
Yeah.
Don't.
Okay. The other one I watched is brand new on rental, and it is called Locked with Bill Skarsgård and Anthony Hopkins.
Oh, that's the remake of that movie I talked about on here.
4x4?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't realize that until the end when it comes up in the credits. But it's about a small-time criminal who breaks into the wrong vehicle, and the vehicle is set up as a trap.
Yeah. I saw the trailer for this.
Yeah. I can't even tell if it's that good, except that Bill Skarsgård is excellent and Anthony Hopkins is excellent, and it's very intense. I mean, I was, because at one point, different from 4x4, I'm guessing, which was pretty low budget, right?
Pretty low budget, but very well.
Yeah.
Very well
At one
executed.
point, this vehicle takes him on a ride.
No, that happened.
Oh, okay. and it's basically being remote controlled and hitting people and stuff like this. And he's
I don't think it got that elaborate, but I seem to remember it driving at some point.
yeah, he's terrorized. And it's a morality tale. If you're a bad person, bad things will happen to you, kind of thing. Anthony Hopkins turns out to not be a very good person in this either, though.
Right. Yeah.
So it's available as a rental, and I would say give it a shot. I liked it. I just was a little tired at the end.
I do want to watch it. I'm really curious. The first one I thought was excellent.
Okay.
And when I think about it, it was so oppressive that thinking about that movie just makes me think of being in a locked car when it's 110 degrees outside, and it just feels like a hot space. It's really wild. I really did enjoy the first one. I do want to see this.
This one has some really amazing camera movements because he's in the car and the camera is winding around him the entire time, and you realize, okay, some of these walls don't really exist.
Oh yeah.
But it's done beautifully, and in no way did it look like you just kind of realized there's no way this movement could have happened.
Right. Yes.
Man. Yeah. It's weird because it feels like there's a whole string of films kind of in this nature that have come out recently, because there was that William Dafoe, like he's stealing art and gets locked in some guy's apartment movie that came out like last year, which I did not see, but I know that like they control the apartment from within. They know he's in there, and they're like putting up the heat, and they're making it so he can't eat anything and doing all kinds of stuff to him too. So
that one from many years ago, Phone Booth, was kind of a neat one too.
I have not seen Phone Booth, but I always meant to get around to it.
Locked.
Excellent. Well, I've been reading quite a few comic books recently. I'm making use of my local library since the economy is getting weird. So trying to save on some cash. And there's this comic that I recently read called In Utero. It's really fascinating sci-fi comic that takes place after a strange nuclear explosion essentially happens in the middle of Australia. In the middle of a city there, and two monsters crawl out having a giant battle with each other. And so the zone has been sort of quarantined off, and it's, 10 years later or something. And there's still bones and weird things that are growing out of there. And there's a kid who gets dropped off at this really cheap ass summer camp that's basically in the zone in an abandoned mall. But it turns out that also in the abandoned mall are the eggs of one of the creatures. And she gets a psychic communication from a being that's in there and starts kind of talking to it and finding out that around the time that her mom gave birth to her during this big event, at the same time, these two creatures were having a battle, and one of them was pregnant and the other laid eggs. And it's all about kind of birth and beings kind of figuring out who they are in the aftermath of war. And anyways, it's a really cool, fucking weird comic that's a one-off, and definitely highly recommend. It's got a strange art style, very dark.
Just a one-off then?
Just a one-off, yeah. It's pretty thick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a nice thick
novel.
It's a graphic novel. It's a indie graphic novel. But
In Utero. That sounds like that's right up my...
I think you'd enjoy it a lot, honestly. And it's a pretty quick read. I read it in maybe a couple hours. So
okay, cool.
Nice. Well, I watched a sequel.
A sequel, you say?
That's right. To a movie called Heavy Trip from a few years ago. The movie of a Finland band that's starting up, and they get invited to play in a massive festival, so they have to figure out how to get there.
Okay.
This is Heavier Trip, which is the same band now in prison for what happened in the first movie.
Oh my God!
This was not a documentary.
No.
Okay.
No, definitely not. It's comedy.
Okay.
Definitely a comedy film.
Okay.
Oh, now I'm kind of disappointed, actually.
Give you an idea of some of the silly comedy level it goes to at times. I forgot why they weren't, but they go into this one store that's like a museum of metal. And they say, "Whoa, Jimi Hendrix fire guitar." And it shows the guitar, and the guitar's on fire. So they knock over this container when the fight starts, and it's got this little stone hedge on top of it that falls off. It's just full of those little kind of things. But it's they get invited to play at a large thing because of their reputation from all the trouble they got in. And they have to escape from prison and go to this festival. And it's a lot of fun. It has the classic storyline of the manager saying the real talent is the singer. So, he tries to separate them and do all that. And it's Finland, I believe it's its original country. So it's mixed. It's got a lot of English, but then it also has, subtitled stuff, but a lot of fun. I really liked Heavy Trip. This came out, I think it was Arrow or Severin, the Heavier Trip, going automatic buy. Fucked that up. Got it like 2 days ago and watched it almost immediately and did not disappoint. It's sillier, it's stranger, it's everything a sequel to a comedy should be. But really kind of a feel-good comedy movie.
What kind of music does this band play?
The kind of stuff Steve Hollitz goes to.
Okay.
Deep, heavy metal.
Okay.
Craig's music.
I was wondering when you said Finland if it was going to be.
There's even one of the characters is the full corpse makeup stuff. And he's the guy who's like, we will not sell out. We only do real music and all that stuff. It's a lot of fun. Really, really good.
So Heavier Trip is brand new.
Yeah.
Heavy Trip is available to stream or no?
Probably. It came out like 2018. It came out quite a while ago. And I think it's almost all the same cast again.
That sounds fun.
It really is. Oh, and Baby Metal has a strong part in this movie.
What?
Not familiar with Baby Metal?
No. What is Baby Metal?
Japanese schoolgirl heavy metal.
Aha. Okay.
So very catchy choruses and then
the music is all.
My brain was not too far away from that.
Gimme Chocolate.
Oh yeah. Okay. I've seen. I think a little video of that one. Yeah.
But yeah, they have a pretty amusing, prominent role in this film.
Well, all right. I gotta watch this. Okay, guys, how about we take a little break, and then when we come back, we're going to be talking about science fiction movies from the
90s.
From the amazing 1990s.
Love the 90s.
Every Blockbuster Video has thousands of great movies, which means every Blockbuster Video has thousands of great gifts, plus great new releases like this.
Once he was programmed to destroy the future. Now his mission is to protect it.
Get down.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Terminator 2. Judgment Day. Rated R from Carolco Home Video. This time he's back for good.
Blockbuster Video. Thousands of great gifts at great prices for everyone on your list.
And we have returned. Eric, this was your subgenre pick.
Yes, it is. I thought long and hard and thought, I'll just do what Kelly did, but 10 years later.
Excellent.
The less than stellar decade for sci-fi movies that was the 90s.
Yeah.
Thanks, Eric.
You're welcome.
You want to start us off then, buddy?
Yep. I think I found a good one, too.
Oh.
I know I found a good one because I watched it.
That's really the only requirement we have.
That's right. 1998, almost the end of the decade. Dark City. which I also rented on Apple, but is available free on Canopy, which I found out afterwards, of course, and to rent on several places. Directed by Alex Proyas, who also directed lots of music videos, which of course led him to directing The Crow and Gods of Egypt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And a fair amount of stuff. He's also the writer. He wrote Garage Days, which I honestly have no idea what that is, and a whole bunch of shorts. Also writing was Lem Dobbs, who wrote Gotti, The Limey, which I freaking love, Kafka, and The Hard Way, so not too bad there. And David S. Goyer wrote Man of Steel, the Dark Knight movies, the Call of Duty games. And so he has a ton of credits. Also the Blade movies, Demonic Toys, and The Puppet Master of 1994. Starring Rufus Sewell, who's in Old and Gods of Egypt, Knight's Tale and Hamlet, Kiefer Sutherland, who you might know from Metal Gear Solid and The Simpsons, the Call of Duty games, and Corner Gas, and Jennifer Connelly. Most recently seen, at least on the big budget scale, in Top Gun Maverick. She was also in Noah, Pollock, and Phenomena. So pretty damn good career. 3 of these people there. So this is second movie I watched in a row with a sci-fi voiceover introduction, but it's Kiefer's voice. So the voice is awesome. Yeah. His cadence is weird, but it fits once you know the character, it's no longer weird. This is a gorgeous film. Holy shit. This is dystopian film, pick your poison, obviously Blade Runner, and a whole lot of other films. Just dark, wet, not quite as futuristic as Blade Runner, not as futuristic as Blade Runner. It's actually older looking stuff, like 30s, 40s buildings kind of level, but they still look futuristic and really freaking cool. This man wakes up in a bathtub with no idea who he is or what is going on, and starts to look around to see if he can figure out the answers to who he is and what's going on. Runs into some creepy guys. Well, he doesn't run into them right away. We run into the creepy guys who are known as the Strangers that are looking for him because they have some questions about his existence. Cut to Jennifer Connelly singing. In the theatrical version, they used other singers' voices, but apparently when it went to home video, the director said, "You're using Jennifer's voice." And
can she sing?
Yeah, she's good. I mean, not great, but it's always nicer. If somebody's good enough, I think it's always nicer to hear that person's voice when they're singing. All aside for, Streets of Fire, because that's awesome. So the guy that worked up in the tub seems to have some kind of strange powers where when he gets in big trouble, this weird thing comes out of his head, almost like comic book-esque, and attacks things, moves things, messes with the Strangers quite thoroughly. The Strangers are, as we find out very quickly, are a giant group of people. They have, and they do this choice that always bugs me in sci-fi movies. We have to have a kid. No, you don't. Because if the kid does something interesting and adds to the story as opposed to just being a kid, fine. But this kid does not. It's just a kid. Every night at midnight, the entire world goes to sleep. And the Strangers do shit. I'm not going to go too much detail after that because this is a wonderful film. And if you're a sci-fi fan, you haven't seen it, go see it. It's got phenomenal pacing. I'm watching this film going, it seems like, man, I don't think I've watched this too long, like 10 minutes, maybe 40 minutes into the movie. And it's just breakneck, solid, easy structure. It's not like a lot of action is going on, but there's just, something's always going on. A nice part about this too is the ending is kind of like, oh shit. But much like The Sixth Sense, rewatching it is rewarding, not discouraging, where you realize, well, they really set that shit up well. It's not a cheap surprise. It's built into the story, and it really, really works. Let's see if I can get a few things in here. The Matrix said they borrowed heavily from this film, which is really obvious. This movie has the shortest average shot length of any modern film at the time at 1.8 seconds.
Wow.
That means there's a cut almost every 2 seconds.
Good God.
Which is probably why the pacing is how it feels.
Oh, the 90s.
But it doesn't feel erratic. It doesn't feel messed up. And I don't sit there going, oh my God. It's smooth as hell. Mm. So obviously built on sets, but this looked a lot better than the Enemy Mine sets from the 80s movie. There's a few computer effects. You're like, a little early for that. I think you should have built that creature. But the one final weird note, the American heavy metal band Iced Earth wrote a song titled Dark Cities based directly on this film. And I like this one. It stood up almost better for me than the first time I watched it.
I haven't seen this since it came out, and I remember liking it, and then I think I tried to watch it maybe 15 years ago, and for some reason I didn't make it through it. So maybe I need to give this another try.
Yeah, I think I watched it a couple of years ago, and I remember at first being like, "Oof, man, I got to get my head in here." But I feel like once you click in and you're willing to go for the ride, then it definitely works. It's kind of like Brazil in that way. It's we're in a Gilliam. Okay, all right, it's fine. It's great. It's brilliant.
It is definitely a that kind of a film where if you go with it, you're great. And I could see if it did not catch you, it is going to be vicious to watch because it is just that world.
Yeah, 100%.
Did you you said you had to rent it?
Yeah, this one was
I know this is a film you love. You don't own this film?
I do.
Oh, okay. It's storage.
It's in storage right now, and I was under the gun a little bit, and it was like a $2 or $3 rental. So okay, I'll be all right.
Oh, Eric, I feel you.
I was real disappointed too because I'm going, oh, cool. There's a part of the reason I thought I'm going to use this as an excuse to maybe buy a new version because Arrow's coming out with an updated multi-box set in like July. Going, maybe I'll get it, maybe I won't. But
multi-box set. Huh?
Dang.
Multi-disc box.
I'm going to have to get that. That sounds cool.
Yeah. Vanessa, you want to go next?
Sure. Why not? All right. So I went with 1999's movie Wing Commander.
March 15th, Earth year 2454. Earth's defenses are threatened.
Message from Gulf Command.
They don't believe they can withstand a Kilrathi battle group without the support of the fleet.
This tactical schematic outlines a nightmare.
We need to buy our fleet 2 hours. And only a team of young fighter pilots stands between Earth and destruction.
Lieutenant J.G. Christopher Blair, reporting for duty, sir.
Todd, Maniac Marshal. At your service, ma'am.
Lieutenant Commander Deborah, your wing commander.
Take those kids' hands now.
All right, ladies, let's do it.
You're going to die out here. We're all going to die out here, but none of us need to be reminded of that fact.
Give him a broadside, Mr. Jerome. Open fire.
If you endanger another pilot, you're dead.
Emotion gets in the way.
Commander, emotion is what separates us from the Kilrathi. I don't think I can. I don't have the faith.
It's not faith. Let's make our miracle.
I made
it! Wing Commander.
Woo! I had not seen this. Guess how you get a hold of this, guys? A YouTube rental. You can't get it any other way.
Oh, wow.
So I gave money to YouTube. That was a new process. This had a budget of 25 to 27 million. Box office, 11.6 million.
Wow.
Yep. Directed and written by Chris Roberts, who only has 13 credits to his name. He's mostly a producer, but I'll get more into his background in a bit. Starring Freddie Prinze Jr., 61 credits, Scooby-Doo, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Star Wars Rebels, 24, and one of the best movies, or at least one of the best scenes in cinematic history, She's All That.
All right.
The poetry hacky sack scene is one of my favorite things on planet Earth. Matthew Lillard, 175 credits, including Scream, Hackers, Scooby-Doo as well, and Twin Peaks.
And a great guy. Well.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. He just wasn't nice to me. Saffron Burrows, 76 credits, including You, Mozart in the Jungle, Deep Blue Sea, and Chetsky Cario, 142 credits. Bad Boys, The Patriot, La Femme Nikita, The Core, and David Suchet, 119 credits. You would know him as Poirot. The plot. In 2654, a war rages between the Terran Confederation and the Kilrathi Empire. The cat-like Kilrathi seek to eradicate the human race. A massive Kilrathi armada attacks the Pegasus station and captures the nav computer, which is used to locate Earth. The admiral, I guess, recalls the Terran fleet to defend Earth, but it will arrive 2 hours too late before the Kilrathi get there and kill everybody. They contact a ship out in the vicinity carrying 2 new pilots on their way to a fighter ship called the Tiger Claw and send a message to that when they arrive at the Tiger Claw, they need to basically go and fight a suicidal mission to delay the attack in order for the fleet to get there in time. The 2 pilots on their way to there are 2 young guys, Blair, a pilot with crazy navigational abilities, and a descendant from the Pilgrim race who have a special ability that allows them to outmath computers. Dune. And Todd Marshall, a cocky, fun buddy guy. When they arrive, they have to convince the crew of the mission. Then they have to convince them of their worth. Then the women of their coolness. And then eventually they have to fight a bunch of the Kilrathi in various situations and try and help keep the human race alive. This has some truly bad CGI. The ships, the asteroid textures, the cat enemies look like ass. It is bad. And it's also, unfortunately, even worse, mostly pretty boring. It has some incredibly clunky acting. I think there's some cool ideas in here overall, but the execution is just poor across the board. It's also just got this constant weird inflated drama and boring hard sci-fi military behind it. I do think like the suits and the sets are good looking. I think that those are great, but it just is not enough. All the ideas are not handled well. Nothing lands. Feel free to skip this movie. Trivia. This was one of only 3 films that was released with the theatrical trailer for Star Wars Episode 1, Phantom Menace in 1999. Many people paid admission to see the trailer, then walked out after. Good idea, guys.
Wow.
In an interview, Freddie Prinze Jr. discussed his hatred for Wing Commander, stating, "I can't stand Wing Commander. I can't watch one scene of that movie. I read the script and I loved it. So did my buddy Matthew Lillard. We both got the parts. We went to the location. They said, 'Here's the new script,' and it was a piece of shit."
Wow.
That.
The voice of Blair's fighter's onboard computer, Merlin, is listed as question mark in the credits. It is Mark Hamill, who previously played Blair in the computer game series. Chris Roberts, the director, this was his directorial debut. He had created the 5 Wing Commander games that had preceded it. The film was rushed into production as Fox wanted Wing Commander delivered by November of 1998 so that they could release it before Star Wars Phantom Menace came out in 1999. They gave Chris Roberts only 3 months of pre-production rather than the 6 to 9 months required for prep, especially for something this visually VFX heavy. Chris Roberts felt that the original screenplay by Kevin Droney was revised, which was revised by Roberts and Larry Wilson. While not a masterpiece, was better than what they ended up being filmed. But the changes they were requested by the producer Todd Moyer ultimately led to the script quality worsening with each rewrite.
That's impressive.
My favorite piece of trivia is that in the DVD insert, the page.
So close.
So close. In the DVD insert, the page listing actor character bios next to Chetsky Karyov's bio is actually a picture of Yurgan Perchtanov, just a different Russian actor. So, anyway.
Yurgan Prochnow.
Prochnow, thank you.
From In the Mouth of Madness.
Yeah.
Okay, so why'd you pick this?
Look, I had a list. And I really wanted to do Moon 44 because I have it. I bought it not that long ago on DVD and I could not find it. I have everything because of our big pipe issue in our downstairs. Everything's in piles. And I was looking through piles. And I was like, oh, I'll do something else cool. I haven't seen Wing Commander. It was like one of 3 on my list. And then I was like, this is the only one I can find for rental streaming. So... went with it.
Feel free to reach out to me sometimes if you're unsure.
Sci-fi.
Have you seen Wing Commander? I'd be like, oh, you
Next time.
definitely want to do Wing Commander.
That's the problem. Usually you guys are pretty good at being like, oh, really? Really? And I'll be like, uh-oh, I have chosen poorly.
Well, you so frequently are so close.
I
to
know.
Record time that now it's like...
This one was really close because with everything going on this week, I did not make it closer. It was too close to really get you guys to change my mind on it. But
wow,
woofda.
It is a stinker of a movie.
Now I've seen it though. You know what? I don't have to have that on my list ever in the future. No question marks here.
Yeah.
But good.
That is a wonderfully positive way to look at your
genuinely good costumes,
experience.
guys. Seriously, every time they panned out and I saw the costumes, I was like, wow, those are some good decisions right there. I applaud y'all.
Okay, well, putting 5 minutes on for myself, and I am talking about straight in the middle of the decade, 1995's Screamers.
Overlooked and long forgotten by those who settled it. For Commander Joseph A. Hendrickson, it is worse than hell. It is home.
What are they?
There is a new terror in their midst.
We call it a screamer. It was developed for us by Alliance on Earth to neutralize the war on the ground here.
How do you know it's dead?
They yanked this brain out.
Pretty smart.
Yeah, maybe too smart. This one seems to have modified itself.
It was designed to protect them from their enemies until it turned its sights on them.
Are they alive?
No one knows. They make themselves now.
I heard the screaming, and then it got very quiet. Nothing except the smell of death.
Chuck, we got a new kind of screamer.
He was like a person. What are they supposed to look like?
Oh, you mean who are they supposed to look like?
They're smarter now. That's how they get into our bunkers. Once it gets inside, that's when the killing starts.
Now, the only way to tell man
he's one of them
from machine is by the sound of their scream.
Things ain't what they used to be.
Directed by Christian Dugway, who has 39 credits, including The Art of War, Right Above, and Scanners 2 and Scanners 3. Written by Dan O'Bannon, who you would know from Blue Thunder, Return of the Living Dead, Dead and Buried, Life Force, Invaders from Mars, and Total Recall. Also written by Miguel Tejada Flores, who should sound kind of familiar. He wrote Revenge of the Nerds, Fright Night 2, and Frankenstein's Army, and based on a short story by Philip K. Dick. Of course, he wrote Blade Runner, Man in the High Castle, and Minority Report. Those short stories were turned into big films. Starring Peter Weller. Of Unknown Origin, The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai in the Eighth Dimension, RoboCop, Leviathan, and Naked Lunch. And also in this is Roy Dupuis, who was in something called Entangle, Bleeders, and The Rocket. And Jennifer Rubin, you would know her from such other episodes as The Crush, Bad Dreams. She is the hot goth chick from Nightmare on Elm Street, The Dream Warriors.
Aww.
Have you guys seen Screamers?
No.
This was a first-time viewing for me. The movie starts with a shitload of narrated exposition that talks about how Earth has colonized many other planets by the year 2078, which is not that far away. We are on a planet called Sirius 6b, which is a ravaged desert planet thanks to our careless mining of its resources and possibly a nuclear war. Unclear. There was also a civil war on this planet, and thousands of civilians died during it, and only a handful of survivors live there now. So we open on a few miners who are playing some kind of game for cigarettes, and an alarm is suddenly raised because there's someone on the surface of the planet stumbling towards their underground base. This is obviously a very unusual event for them. It looks like the person is carrying something, a delivery of some kind, but just then the sand underneath him starts to move as if there were something burrowing towards him, and then suddenly several somethings are burrowing towards him, and these are screamers. AI protector robots, we are informed, I guess, and they will attack anything that doesn't have a wristband that hides their heartbeat. So they attack this messenger and cut his arms and legs off. It's pretty fun. Enter Captain Joe Henderson, leader of the mining base. He's not sure what was so important that this messenger died to bring it to them, but they retrieve the cylinder the man was carrying, and it turns out to have a message from Richard Cooper, a commander of the opposing army to Joe, asking for a peace negotiation. And there's also a detailed map of the opposing army's fortress to kind of prove that this is not a trick, I guess. I don't know. This is a confusing movie. There's also a subplot of a commercial transport sending an emergency request to land on the planet, even though they are billions of miles from any commercial transport lanes. I'll be honest, I can't figure out what the fuck this ship was supposed to be doing. It crashes and everyone is killed except for one soldier, and the screamers show up and make off with the dead bodies for some reason.
Ooh.
Anyway, the captain and this soldier decide they're going to make the perilous trek to the enemy fortress and see if this is legit. So they don all of their protective wear, including red cigarettes that keep their lungs free of radiation and the wristbands that fool the screamers. So on their way, they run into a small child with a teddy bear that has somehow survived all the screamers and wants to come with them. He's been living in the ruins and surviving on scraps after his parents were killed in the war. That night, they are attacked by a screamer because the soldier, this new soldier, didn't know he had to actually be wearing the bracelet to fool the screamers. He thought he could just have it like next to his body. They manage to destroy the screamer before it can kill anyone, though, and the three of them continue their trek. When they finally make it to the other fortress, one of the soldiers there immediately blows the kid away, and we find out he was a robot.
Oh.
The screamers have evolved somehow, and now they are making new screamers in the form of killer robotic children. And I was like, fuck yeah. Why didn't Cyberdyne and Skynet think of this? Why would you make your Terminator look like a huge, scary man instead of a defenseless little child?
That does track.
So from here, the movie drags along until it finally gets halfway decent again at the end, as it becomes a story of paranoia and wondering who you know is actually human and who might be one of the new screamers.
Oh.
So I didn't love this movie, but I didn't hate it. It had a good beginning, a decent ending, and a real fucking second act problem. The screamer effects, when you finally see them, are stop motion, and that's very fun. Even though the spaceship effects are really garbage CGI effects, and Peter Weller is good. A little bit of trivia. In the original short story by Philip K. Dick, the plot takes place on Earth instead of Sirius 6b, and originally the screamers were developed by American troops hiding in the moon to destroy the Russian army after the Soviet Union had completely wiped out the United States. This is already a more interesting story, and it could have been the exact same thing. I don't know why it had to take place on a distant planet. Early versions of the screenplay were titled Claw, in reference to the villainous robots, which are called claws in the original Philip K. Dick short story, Second Variety. At one point, Hendrickson refers to someone sarcastically as a real Perky Pat. I guess this is a reference to the short story, The Days of Perky Pat, and the novel, The Three Stigmata of Palmer Eldritch, both of were written by Philip K. Dick. This is just a personal note. The film takes place in 2078, which only leaves us 50 years to not only colonize several other planets, but colonize them so thoroughly that thousands of people can be killed in a civil war on one of them.
We gotta go.
Why not just set it on Earth?
Goals, I tell you.
So this is probably on Tubi or something like that. I can't remember what. I gotta say, the effects are quite poor. The acting by everyone is a little higher than it had to be. And the second act just fucking is a snooze fest. So, but I loved the idea of the children, and spoiler, because I don't want anyone to watch this, but fast forward to the end where suddenly they are being attacked by a horde of robot children all carrying teddy bears.
That's extremely good.
So that was fun.
I like that.
Smooth.
Vanessa, so I'm not sure what we're doing here. We might be doing a live show of Crypticon right now, or we might be doing your next pick. Yeah. So what is your next pick?
Well, my next pick, I mean, I'm going to get real crazy here, guys, and say the early aughts sci-fi.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah.
Anything from 2000 to 2009.
Okay.
I was trying to remember. I was like, wait, 2099? No, wait, hold on. That doesn't work at all. You know, the first decade.
2000s.
So I have faith.
Sci-fi.
I have faith it's going to get better, because there's no way that I love sci-fi for a reason. There must be something. It can't just be that we went from 70s to never again. So at some point,
well,
good
80s
sci-fi.
did okay, you know.
They did all right. They did all right.
All right. I like this idea. This is fun. This is a nice break from all the horror.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
2000s sci-fi, here we come. That means that right now, this is the part where we say thanks to everybody out there who's liking and sharing all of our posts, who's reaching out to us either through YouTube comments or the Strange Hands Radio talk page on Facebook or any of that stuff, but especially if you are donating money to the cause.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, a little bit of money puts some wind in the sails of this pirate ship and helps pay for all of this crazy equipment you see.
Yeah, and this new little teeny equipment.
Oh, yeah.
We've got new microphones we're using for our live show, like Crypticon, that are just these teeny cute little things.
Oh, look at those
Pretty
guys.
stoked.
So thank you.
Pretty stoked to use those.
We probably shouldn't have said anything until we actually hear what that live show sounds like afterwards. But
You kept the receipt, right, Eric?
another way to reach out to us is how, Vanessa?
You can go ahead and give us a call or a text on the Strange Eons Radio hotline. That number is 253-237-4266. 253-237-4266. Go ahead and ping us, call us, drunk dial us, sober dial us, sleepy dial us, awake dial us, any kind of dial us.
Yeah,
we want to hear from you.
Text all the same style too.
Yeah, absolutely. any of those states of mind, just go ahead and reach out. We'd love to hear from you guys.
True. And this just set off a memory. I remember getting a drunk email from an ex-girlfriend many years ago.
Oh, God.
And she passed out in the middle of the email. And it was like she was saying something, and then the G just was G. And then I was like...
how'd she hit send? Did she wake up just long enough to go,
she was just,
beautiful.
So then I reached out to her and said, everything okay? And the next morning she was like, oh, my God. This is hilarious and embarrassing. So please, if you're out there and you want to send us a drunk text, we would love that.
It'd be great. By all means.
All right, guys, that's it for this week. We will be back in 7 short days, and we are talking 2000s sci-fi movies.
Till 2009.
2000 to 2009 sci-fi.
To clarify.
Movies. The title will look much better in print. See you next Thursday. Transportation and other considerations for Strange Eons Radio, produced by Pan Am Airlines. When you think of traveling, think of Pan Am. You can't beat the experience. Guests of Strange Eons Radio stay at Econo Lodge Everett. It's an easy stop on the road, you know what we mean. Strange Eons Radio is recorded live in front of a studio audience. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a positive review on your favorite podcast app. Sit, Ubu, sit.
Trying to find the cool people I need to work with.